could you describe a little bit more the particular element that was attacking an autonomous system? I presume we're talking about BGP autonomous systems on the internet, underpinning the internet, and could you just describe a particular attack vector that was taking advantage of autonomous system functionality as opposed to just kind of like internet web scanning, for example?
Excuse me, are you asking about
so the attack
methods?
So the attack vector of the botnet that specifically looked at autonomous systems.
Yes. Yes, we focused to various autonomous systems, and but we did not classify them according to the ways of attacking. We classified them according to their activities, but their conduct, their behavior was in general not the factor of the analysis.
Okay, thank you. Second question, sorry, really quickly, it was associated to the social engineering attacks file. Thank you for the presentation, really interesting. It's my PhD specifically focusing on that work. And I recently wrote taxonomy on deception-based attacks, but focusing on computer-based attacks rather than human sort of elements in the physical space. And what I found typically is almost all of the defence mechanisms and countermeasures were irrelevant to personal home users. I'd like to get your thoughts on how you think that, I mean, for me that's one of the biggest issues, that there are no defences really, and a user at home can't really write their own policy. What do you think might be the approach to provide defence in that space?
Yeah, I think you're right actually. A lot of the work's focused on organisations. In terms of home users, I guess it's not stepped really beyond education and people's ability to take it on. The problem with education is that when somebody's intentionally trying to trick somebody, educating somebody out of it is not really the option. Probably an answer to your questions I really don't know. But it's an interesting thought. It's not something particularly we look at, but
I mean, just from our perspective, it feels like it's a responsibility of a platform provider to at least provide some mechanism to provide awareness to the user.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can put technical controls in place, and like you say, when you're providing a service, is that where the book stops? But I've not particularly looked at that. But interesting question.
Right. Do we have? Okay.
I want to ask you why you focus on Linux exactly. Is it because Czechoslovakia used Linux mainly? Because to my knowledge, that Linux is the less system more targeted, and the targeted is just recently, not for a long time.
Yes, thank you for interesting questions. The fact is that we did not focus only to Linux. This presentation focused only part of our results that comes from Linux honeypots, but we also operate Windows honeypots, Dionea and SCADA honeypots, and web service honeypots.
One question for the social engineering. You said that it mainly focused on deception, the idea of deception, and you mentioned that they try to show that they are women or to give trust. What's more, from my experience, they exit more than that. They use them pretending that it's help online as the authority. So imagine how much they use this idea of deception extended to dare to say that we are authority and want to help you because your system is compromised.
Yeah, I think in terms of kind of the 2 points, in terms of the deception point, social engineering is kind of tricking somebody into doing something that goes against security policies with the view really to getting information. Deception's part of that, certainly. I think in terms of, well, women, I was kind of alluding to that. If you're doing a physical or a face-to-face attack, I think people tend to have that, rightly or wrongly, that preconception that it's not a woman who do that. I think you're right in terms of online. There's a lot that does talk about authorities and legal requirements and other things.
Yes, please.
I mean, just a quick question, because I had a PhD student years ago looking at social engineering, and he's now Vice President of JP Morgan Chase. Looking in the banking environment, we were very conscious that the training in-house needed to be focused at the level of the staff, okay? And also the accountability of staff, you know, reflected their level in terms of what you expect them not to do.
Yeah.
In the banking sector then, certainly it was very well defined, these levels. Have you looked at that aspect of it in terms of what you're doing?
No, not particularly looked at the levels as such, not with the organisations we're dealing with. In terms, it's interesting about the levels, and what we have looked at some of the theoretical information security models, the Bella Padula and others that looked at layers of access to information. I don't know if I've skipped your question.
I mean, what I'm really focusing on is making sure that the in-house training, because the in-house training is the norm in the banking sector, and I'm sure you're well aware, but it needs to be fit for purpose. So, you know, the different grades are assumed to have different levels of sophistication and also different risks associated because of their to what they've got access to.
Definitely, and I've just answered this quickly before Lorna just waved at me then. What we look at doing is going into the organisation and looking at different people in the context and doing it very much tailored towards what they're doing and the level they're at and the kind of access they've got. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, which I think is some of the problems with the training currently.
That's pretty much what I was just going to say.
Okay.
All right.